What's up, good people? We are back at another episode on this podcast by word of mouth. Listen, we just had an episode probably a week and a half ago, man, and I really appreciate the response that particular episode got. There was a lot of interesting things on that particular episode, and it was my first time going solo. It was a good experience, man. I got a lot of people who hit me up saying, man, that was a good show. A lot of responses to that particular show. So I am really happy about the outcome of that show. So today again, I'm flying solo, and because let me tell you something. I have a lot of things that cross my mind in the business that I am. I'm a master barber, so and I'm a personal trainer, and I have a lot of people around. I have conversations with a lot of different people. I got a lot of different things going on, so I hear a lot of different conversations, and along with the things that I have going on in my head that I want to talk about. So it's kind of imperative for me to get that information out to the people because it's things that I hear on a daily basis that I want answers to or that I just want to discuss and see how people feel about those particular situations. So that's why I kind of like, want to get out new episodes kind of back to back. And I don't mind flying solo because this is something that I feel like um, is my gift to be able to speak and have a good time, and that's just a good thing that I have and I like to do. So let's just talk about. We're gonna have a lot of interesting things to talk about. It's gonna be a good one. It's. I'm gonna try to keep it down to. I'm gonna try to keep it down to 40 minutes. Let's do this because I had one of my clients, one of my good friends, a colleague of his was listening to the show and she said, it was a very interesting show, but if I have so much going on, and sometimes if he can condense it down to like 30 minutes, would it be better for me? And that's possible. That's possible. So I'm gonna try to be able to get it and condense it where it's not as long as an hour, but when you get rolling and you have things to talk about and you want answers, it just flow how it flow. So we ain't gonna talk about no sponsors. We just gonna roll. We just gonna roll right into how it's gonna go and just go from there. So let's get started. And excuse my allergies if you hear me sniffing or whatever. So let's get started. The first thing I want to get started on, I am the fragrance guy. I want to achieve to getting at least 250 different fragrances. And right now I'm probably at 40 to 43. So today I am wearing something. If only you can smell through the radio, if you listen to the radio, if you could smell through your laptop or you can smell through your phone, I smell good, man. And you will not believe what I got on. And a lot of times before I even get a particular cologne, I will research it and research it and research it to see how many people are actually talking about it, see how it does on their skin, see how it does as far as longevity, what the notes are in it. So I'm really into fragrances. So today I got 3 fragrances that I want y'all to be familiar with. And then you'd be like, oh man, I heard this on Dre's podcast. So let me get started. What I'm wearing today ain't for the average person. It ain't for somebody 30 and below. It is for the mature person who knows how to throw on some clothes, who has that classiness to themselves, like to take their lady out or just to be able to be out, in a good area, vibing with different people. So this is going to be a surprise to you because it was a surprise to me. The cologne that I'm wearing today, you would not believe. It is by the car company Bentley. Yes, it is called Bentley Absolute. And I'm telling you, this smells like you worth $1 billion. And the thing is with Bentley colognes, I believe they have like 5 different fragrances. And the one I really wanted, you can't wear until like it's like wintertime, which we live in Florida, so it won't really get chilly like that. But it's called Bentley Intense. When I heard that's the best one. But this Bentley Absolute, look at that. That bottle is crazy. And it looks and smells good. Bentley Absolute. You want to get this. If you into smelling good and you into throwing on some fly clothes or whatever, this right here is a go-getter. Do your research on Bentley Absolute. The second one that I have is made by Dolce and Gabbana. And remember this, before you buy a fragrance, let me say this real quick. Before you buy a fragrance, make sure that it's parfum, not toilet water, EDT. Don't get into that because it's not going to last no more than an hour. You want parfum. You want the most concentrated parfum. So on this one is Dolce and Gabbana Intensio. Dolce and Gabbana Intensio. I say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 7.5, 8. The smell it smells good, but it can be like some smells some colognes you can wear all the time. It'd be your daily grabber. This right here is not your daily, for me, it's not my daily grabber. So it smells good. I love it, but it's not something I would wear all the time. So if you're into Dolce and Gabbana, getting in Dolce and Gabbana Intensio, that's another one. And last but not least, I didn't told y'all asses about these Middle Eastern fragrances. I'm telling you, they ain't playing with y'all. They ain't playing with these American designers when it comes to fragrances. I don't care who you know is the top fragrance right now that you can grab up. These Middle Eastern colognes and perfumes, they are so concentrated that they last. Man, they last to the next day. So this right here is called Kismet. It is from the company of Maison Alhambra. This right here, I wore this twice. You can see I put a little dent in it. This right here on my skin lasts 8 hours. On my clothes, even when you wash them, they still got a hint of it in there. These Middle Eastern fragrances, y'all better do y'all research. And one of the things that I did my research on this smell is crazy. And a lot of times when you buy Middle Eastern fragrances, you will not smell them on nobody else unless they know about fragrances. Unless they really know about fragrances like that, you ain't gonna smell nobody else smelling like you. So last but not least, Kismet by Mason and Alhambra. This is good, man. And they ain't not breaking the bank with this. This is gonna last on your skin probably 7 to 8 hours, maybe longer than that. On your clothes, 2 months. It's gonna last 2 months for real. All right, we didn't got past that. Let's dive into this show. Let's get busy. It's some interesting things that happen that I thought about, and one of the things that I want to discuss is about Black families. I think when we think about things that we learn as growing up, the things that we had to that we didn't learn, and the things that we had to understand later on in life. And one of the things that I had to understand later on in life is a lot of, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. A lot of Asians, a lot of white folks, and even Hispanics, they don't kick their kids out of the home at 18. You don't hear a lot of rhetoric about, your parents said, I can't wait till you get 18 so you can get out of here. Or I can't wait till you turn this so you can get out of here. I don't ever hear white folks talking about that. But in my house, listen, I'm going to be as frank as possible. And I'm sure it's well over 80% of Black folks who heard this from one of their parents. When you turn 18, you got to get out of here. Now, let me ask you something. At 18, my mother kicked me out the house, right? I wasn't even 18 yet. I was 17. And the interesting thing about it is you're still a teenager. My mother gave me and my brother a wonderful childhood. A wonderful childhood. My aunts and uncles and grandparents gave us a wonderful childhood. We were the only grandchildren. But the interesting thing is imagine you not being fully developed as an individual. You're still a teenager. My parents didn't give me and my brother any real usable skills. I mean, my mother was a great, great mother. I will continue to let people know my mother was an excellent mother. And I seen some things, but my mother never gave me any tools to proceed with life. I was sheltered as a kid. Um, she gave me and my brother a lot of things. We had a lot. She took care of us like no other. She gave us nurturing ways, but my mother didn't give me anything that I could use. She said some things that most parents say, but she didn't give me anything that I could use in this lifetime or as a adult. And neither my father gave me nothing. There's not one thing great that I learned from my father. So imagine being kicked out of the home with no legible skills that you can apply to being out here at 17, 18. So for me, most Black parents always talk about, I can't wait till you turn 18, or I can't wait till you get a certain age so you can get out of here. You know, I'm not comparing people to animals, but just think about this. Think about if when a bird has it hatches its young, and it takes them a while to to get their feathers and to learn how to fly. Imagine that mother bird kicking those birds out of the nest before they even fully develop. Do you really think that bird would survive without having to be able to have the understanding of how to fly, how to feed itself, how to hunt? How would that little bird be able to survive? And even you think about other animals, they nurture their whether it's a bear or their cubs or whatever, they nurture them until they're able to survive, until the mother knows that they're able to survive on their own. I wasn't able to survive. I had to survive. There's a difference being able to survive and having to survive. I had to survive because I had no choice. I had no choice. And that's a detriment that most Black kids are put in that situation where they have to figure it out. You have to figure it out, or you better figure out what you're gonna do. You're gonna have to figure it out because you got to get out of here. I've heard that. So I've even heard that on sitcoms. I've heard that. The only Black sitcom that I didn't hear that from was the Cosby Show. But you got to understand that family was being nurtured. So why is it that so many Black families are always telling their kids, you got to get out of here when you're 18? I had a conversation with one of my clients, a good friend of mine. His name is Jamal. And we were talking about, he's Jamaican. And he was saying, I was discussing this, like I was telling him what the podcast, some of the things that the subject matters that the podcast is going to be about. And I told him, he said, man, you know what? You're right. He said, but good thing for me, my parents didn't, and put that on me. He said his parents let him stay. They said, listen, go to school, get great grades, good grades, and we'll take care of the rest. When it was time for him to get a car, we'll buy the car. You just take care of the insurance. He said he was allowed to stay with it at his parents' house to the point where he had so much money saved up. It even to this day, as a grown man, he's still reaping the benefits of being able to stay at his parents' home in the money situation. When it comes to us, and he said too, when it comes to us, is it that are we looked at to our parents like a liability? Did our parents, when they had us, did they put all their situations aligned where, listen, I don't have to rush my kids to get out the house because I built enough of good situation for them. I'm not worried about it. I'm not pressed for finances. I'm in a good financial state. That's not true with a lot of families. Black families. Why do our parents look at us like a liability? Is that why they telling us to get out? Is that why they say you need to get out of here? Because we're a liability and a burden. Are we a burden past 18? And that's the one thing that I've never heard. I have a lot of white clients. I've never heard a white parent or a white client of mine talking about how their parent kicked them out the house. I've heard so many times where the parent was like, "Nah, you stay here. You go to school. You do get all your things in order. Make sure your credit, everything is in order. I'm gonna set you up with these stocks, bonds, CDs, or whatever. I'm gonna make sure that you're straight. So when you leave the nest, you're buying a home. Your credit is A1. All these things." And I had to look at it like, do I blame my mother? Do I blame my father? I don't know, because I don't know what my parents learned from their parents. See, we're a product of our environment, and we're a product of our parenting, of how we've been parented. We're a product of our parents to a degree. So maybe my mother was a product of her mother, or maybe my grandmother was a product of her mother. Who knows? But I know this: being pushed out of the nest early didn't allow me to develop in the way that I hoped to. I didn't want to be cold. I didn't want to be like an unloving type person. There were parts of me being pushed out that when I was pushed out of the house caused for me to be cold and didn't know how to have certain emotions. So, and it also, my parents didn't have a conversation with me and my brother about finances. We never had a conversation about finances, man. You know, everything that I've learned now, I had to learn late about finances. My mother had money. But even though she had money, she never had a conversation with me and my brother like, "Hey, this is what you need to do. When this happens, this is what needs to happen." Never. And my father, that's a joke. So everything that I learned about finances were from seeing other people or from just trial and error. From trial and error, man. So if you got parents that are not teaching you financial literacy, and you got parents that are preaching you got to be gone by 18, what are they creating? How are you getting? How are you able to be the best you leaving the nest if you don't have the essential things, financial literacy, understanding about certain things, so you won't make some of the or go through some of the trials and tribulations or pitfalls that your parents did? That's the one thing that I wish that I can have back. That my mother would sit me down, sit my brother down, and have these conversations about financial literacy. Put your money in this stock. Learn about this CD. Have this kind of a checking account. Have this type of savings account. When you're able to get your own business, do that and just do this. Those conversations were never had in my house. Never. So I spent money unwisely. I went through so much money. It was just unreal. I never did at certain parts of my life. I never did positive things with money. I always spent money on clothes, cars, stuff in the house, stuff I had to learn later on. This is what I need to do. I don't think that playing catch up is a great thing, but at least I learned. So in the comments, I want somebody to if you really understand that, put in the comments, did your parents have sit you and your siblings down, or if it's just you, and have a conversation about financial literacy? Or did you often hear in your home, you got to be out of here by 18? Did you hear that? And I know it's not just me. I know it's a plethora of Black people that grew up and they heard that all the time. How did that benefit you? And how did it not benefit you by hearing that? See, I'm never going to play victim, because, the circumstances were what they were. And it allowed me to develop the way that I need to, but it also allowed me to be a man. So, but there's some elements that were missing. So if you are watching this episode, put your comments in the comment section on YouTube and say what you think about that. Why is it that in Black homes, majority of our parents, and I understand a lot of them wasn't taught, but saying not to be able to have a financial conversation with your parents so they can teach you early. There's a lot. Hey, listen, I don't care what nobody say. Say what you want. White folks, majority of white folks teach their kids early. And I get it because they got the information, they got the format. I get it. But there's a few Black families that taught their Black children financial literacy. Didn't use, hey, you got to get out of here. But more so than not, there was more white, there was more Asian. I even see it in Hispanic homes where, man, they not throwing their kids out like that. And if I had a son or a daughter and I was married, man, listen, if I'm instilling in you the tools that you need from when you were a child, you'll have an idea of what you need to do. So when you turn a certain age, you already know what direction you're going in, either college, military, or your own business mind, or your own business, whatever you're trying to get. But kicking you out the house or always reinforcing, you're gonna be out of here when you're 18. That can't feel good. And I'm here to tell you, it don't feel good. So if you were a victim of that and you understand where I'm coming from with this, put a comment in the section and voice your opinion. And if you don't agree because you had a parent that didn't say that, I understand that too. But when your parents look at you when you get a certain age like a liability, because that's what it is. Because if a parent had money and a whole bunch of it and things were in a good position or whatever, they wouldn't see you as a liability. But most Black homes, you got to go. I've done all I could do, which is sad. But in other homes, they setting them up. They setting them up for their future to be as bright as hell. So put that in the comments what you think about that. Put that in the comments. So moving on. I want to say this to you. This is another conversation about Black folks. When Black people have businesses, whether it be a clothing store or whatever kind of business it is, why are Black folks, when they patronize other Black businesses, they go in with the notion of trying to get a hookup? They don't go in there with saying, I'm going to support whatever the price is of the merchandise or the product in the store owned by this Black individual. I'm going to go in there and pay that price. That don't happen. Majority of Black people go into Black businesses looking to negotiate the price. What? Why? You don't go in the Gucci store. You don't go in any white-owned business looking to negotiate the price. So why are you looking to negotiate the price with your own? A lot of times people say, nah, that's too much. Nah, I ain't paying that for that. But you'll go into Nordstrom's, you'll go into Saks, you'll go in all these white-owned stores. There is no negotiation. The price is what the price is, unless it's on sale. So explain to me, why do Black folks go into other Black-owned businesses looking to negotiate the price or look for the hookup? Why aren't you going in there looking to pay and support that Black-owned business? I see that all the time. Oh, I ain't paying that. That's too much. Are you saying that when you're going in these other stores? Are you saying to the owner of that store or whoever's running that store, this is too much, I ain't paying that? No, you're not. You only say that when you go into a black-owned business. If you black, majority of black people, I'm not saying all, so let's make sure that's clear. But it's over 70% of black folks go into another black-owned business already with the intentions of looking to find or negotiate the price. Why? Somebody answer that, and somebody tell me why are black folks going into other black businesses looking to negotiate the price? Because they black? Because they're black and you feel like, oh, you owe me. I'm black too. You owe me. Nah. What kind of mindset is that? What kind of mindset is that to go in another brother's or sister's business looking to negotiate the price, opposed to just going in there and saying, I'm supporting this brother or sister with whatever it costs, whatever the price they have on the product, that's what I'm paying. And if I can throw in some extra, I will. Why is that? Why do we do that, black folks? Why? Why are we looking to negotiate the price? Why not going there and trying to pay and support in any way you can? But when y'all go in these other stores, name them, Gucci store, Prada store, anything you could think of, Christian Labatas, you'll pay whatever for that price. You'll pay $1 million for whatever it is. And you don't even, you got to pay that. Cats are paying $300 for a Gucci belt, $400 for this, $400 for that. And y'all don't look to negotiate nothing because there is no negotiation. But if a black person has the time, they put the time and the effort to have these stylish clothes, these stylish belts, these stylish shoes, you go in that store looking to negotiate the price. You don't negotiate with Nike. You ain't negotiating with Adidas with the Yeezys. You ain't negotiating Jordans. There's no negotiation with those. You don't go into the Nike store saying if the Jordans is $300, let me get those. Can you hook me up for like 120? Hell no. Get your ass out of here. You ain't doing that. You ain't doing that. Them people ain't going for that. But man, when you take your ass into a black-owned store, the numbers gotta be right, huh? You can't just go in there and support the brother or sister. You got to go in there and negotiating the price. Nah, I ain't doing that. I ain't paying that. I'm not doing that. Come on, people. Come on. And I'm talking to us. I'm talking to my black people. Come on. We got to stop doing that. We got to just stop doing that. And I know there's a lot of people out here who understand what I'm saying. Why do we do that? Why don't we support our own at the level of the other stores? You're not going in no other store that's not black owned and trying to negotiate something. Y'all need to knock this off with that. Support your brother, support your sister, because that's the same skin color you have and you want to see them succeed. Don't do it the opposite. Don't try to support. Don't try to say you owe me because I am the same color as you. They got bills to pay. They put in just as much work as the person who made Polo, the person who made the Jordans, or the person who made Prada, the person who made Gucci, the person who made Hermes, the person who made all these fashionable clothes. They put in the same amount of work. So you give them the same amount of respect. Don't never go in a black-owned business and you black trying to negotiate prices. Don't. Do yourself a favor. When you go in these black-owned businesses, support them. Go in with the mindset of you supporting their business because you want to see them succeed. And whatever it costs, pay it. Pay it. If you understand what I'm saying, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments and tell me how you feel about it. This is the last one. This to me is a deep one. And I talked to my girl about this before me and her have differences of opinion of sometimes because we're from two different places. So I understood what I asked her about this question and I understood to a degree, but this is a deep, deep, deep question. And this is for the men. And this is women can chime in. Excuse me. Women can chime in on this, but this is for men. I've been seeing this. I don't know if this is some trending shit or I've been seeing this a lot as of late. And I just saw it today. Women are hitting men a lot more than I've ever seen before. Women are putting their hands on men and men being put in a situation of what I'm going to do. What am I going to do? I seen today where a young lady, this is a young couple, probably early 20s. And the young lady was asking her boyfriend for her what they were on some kind of hill or something in the park or something. And the young lady was asking, "Let me see your phone. Let me see your phone." He said, "No, you can't see my phone." And she hauled off and slapped the dog shit out of this man. I'm talking about that whole hand, the whole 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slapped his face. Oh, man, I felt that. And then he pushed her into the pond. The question I want to ask men, and I'm going to ask you ladies something as well. Is there any, understand what I'm about to say to you? Because as a grown man, I have my theory and I have my thoughts. Is there any point in time where a woman does physical damage to you and you decide, I'm gonna do something physical back to you? Now, before anybody has any tainted views of what I'm saying, you should never listen. You should never, as a man, if you were raised right with certain principles, you should never put your hands on a female. You should always be able to walk away. You have 2 legs, walk your ass away. That's been my theory for a long, long, long time. So in what circumstances can a woman physically do something to you where you just lose it? And is there ever a time where you say, "Oh, hell no"? Is there ever an occasion where a woman physically did something to you so detrimental that you said, "Oh, hell no," and didn't walk away? Is there ever let me make sure I say this because I want women to understand. Is there ever a time where you hit a man and he says, I'm not gonna walk away this time? Or is there ever like a situation where you like, I understand, I kind of understand why he did that. He retaliated. Women, if you know, I think a lot of women know that when you put your hands on real men, they're not gonna hit you back. Real men, and I use the statement a lot, real men are not gonna put their hands on a woman. They're gonna walk away no matter how severe. I had a woman spit on me. Oh my God. I had a woman got so mad at me. I was in a relationship. This was years and years and years ago. She spit on my face. And oh my God, only thing I could do was rip all her clothes off. And that's what I did. Because the 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 after effect of actually thinking about physically putting your hands on that woman would be more traumatic to me than anything. Knowing that you could have just said, I'm gone. I didn't feel bad about ripping her clothes off, but I could live with that. But I don't think I could have been okay with, oof, that was a tough one. But women, you're at what point do you say, let me ask you this. And I'm not relating people to animals, so I'm saying that again. You're not gonna go to a dog and just punch the shit out of a dog because you know what the dog's gonna do. A real dog that's, is well behaved, but if you punch that dog or you punch an animal or you do something traumatic, you know that animal coming back for you. So you don't even engage in no stupidity like that because you know what the outcome is. So women, don't you know what the potential outcome of some of these dudes if you put your hands on them? When does it come to the point where it's mutual respect? I'm not going to ever put my hands on you, and you're not going to ever put your hands on me. And the way I look at things, if my woman put her hands on me, I'm out. Because to me, the relationship it's done. At what point in time, man, is there ever a point where you say, ah, she almost could have got it right there. She almost got these hands. She almost got poked in the eye. She almost got it. Women, please put it in the comments. If you know what a man is capable of doing, why even poke the bear? Why even put yourself in a position to do that? Why even become violent at all? And so many times I've seen where women smack the shit out of men, or women pushed them or ran up on them or did something to them when you know. See, you already know real men ain't gonna they may grab you, but they ain't gonna hit you. So if you knowingly know this man ain't gonna do nothing to me, does that give you all the more gumption to try to hit that person? Because you know that person is not gonna retaliate. Is that why a lot of women are hitting men now? Because they know that man is a real man. He ain't gonna put his hands on you, or he just gonna be like, walk away. But at some point in time, when are you gonna understand that physical violence is not the way? And if you know that you're wrong, if a woman knows she's wrong, is the retaliation just as wrong? And that's the comment I want to know. I want to know why do women feel it's okay to put their hands on a man, knowing that he could potentially do damage to you? And then think about the women who did put their hands on men, and then they gave them they reacted a certain way. I want to know in the comments, is there, and I'm walking a tightrope with this. Is there ever a time that a woman has hit a man with either something just because she was mad, not because he did anything? She just hauled off and smacked him, hit him with something that caused damage, punched him in his face. Is there ever a time where somebody say, and listen to how I say this, is there ever a time a woman did damage to a man, and that man did damage to her back, and somebody was to say, well, that's what you get. Knowing that I don't condone um, physical violence at all, because I still resort back to the same thing. If a woman puts her hands on you, you got two options. Take your ass, put on your shoes, and get the hell out and leave that woman forever. Or leave forever. That's just it. That's just it. I don't I that's just it. But women, I think you know that the man that you're involved with will not put his hands on you. So that gives you mental permission to do so. Aren't you just as wrong? When did it become okay for you to do that? It's because you know that you're not poking a bear. You're just poking a person that won't do nothing to you. So you feel like you could do whatever. When does this trend stop? Where women are putting their men in positions to be like, you're doing all right. Is there ever a time where another woman said, you deserve that? Because I don't believe that I can't say that without sounding biased. But is there ever a time? I want to make sure this question is really clear. Is there ever a time where another woman would say, or somebody would say, that's what you get? Keep your hands to yourself. And if is there ever a time where a man should just say, I'm not gonna ever like putting, is there ever a time? Let me make sure I say this right. I'm trying to make sure I say this right. Is there ever a time where somebody says, I understand why that guy did that? Is there ever really a time that somebody said, I understand? Is there ever a situation where a woman did something so violent to a man that he retaliated and people were just saying, it's wrong, you're wrong, but I understand? Put that in the comments, because I'm seeing too often where women are they're running up on men, they're putting their hands on men, knowing that that man is not either going to put himself in a position to hit you back, or is too much of a man and walks away. At what point does that stop? At what point do you say, I know this man is not, he's not going to do anything, so let me not do anything to even provoke that possibility. Walk away. So women and men, put your comments in the section. And is there ever a time where a man would be, I don't want to say justified, in ever retaliating against a woman who put her hands on him and cause damage? Put that in the comments. Put that on the comments and tell me what you think about that. And just for the record, you always can walk away. That is, to me, you can deal with whatever the situation is, whatever she did, or whatever she did, you can walk away. That is always going to be my go-to, because you can still have your character intact. So for me, it's always walk away, because you know what damage you're capable of doing to a woman, even if she's wrong. So give me your thoughts in your comment. Hey man, I think these questions are really deep. So on the first one, just tell me what you thought in your comments. I want comments. I want y'all to be able to talk and put comments so we can get more views, so we can get more dialogue, because these type of conversations needs to happen. These type of conversations need to happen. Whether you believe them or not, have these conversations, have this dialogue, have these things to talk about, so we can get an understanding of why they're happening. And I got one little quick thing before I get up out of here. And you know what? We're gonna be under 50 minutes. Great, 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 great. I got something to make you go, why is that? Something makes you think. This is a funny one. What's the craziest thing that you've seen in the street when you're driving on the road? And how does it get there? What I see, like over the years, how does somebody leave their shoes in the middle of the street? How do you leave? I seen shoes in the middle of the street. I've seen a weave in the middle of the road. I've seen a I've seen mittens. I've seen the craziest stuff. And when these people do they leave this stuff in the middle of the street on purpose? Or they just lost it? How does it get in the middle of the street? That's the weirdest thing. I seen a pair of shoes. I seen a pair of shoes today on the way to my house on the road. Brand new pair of shoes. I know somebody had to be mad as shit. How does these little things get left in the middle of the street? Help me out. Help me understand that. Please help me understand how these things get left in the middle of the street. Is that somebody doing it on purpose? Did it fall out the window? Did it fall off the truck? What is the weirdest thing that you've seen in the middle of the street that somebody left there? Tell me that in the comments, man. Hey, it's been great talking to everybody. Trust me, I enjoy this more than you can ever imagine. I love having these conversations. I love being able to push content out to people. I love to have people have thought-provoking situations. This conversation is a good conversation, and I want y'all to react to this conversation. I want y'all to say, Dre, I agree with you, or I don't agree with you. It's all good because it helps me grow as a podcast person. It helps me grow as an individual. Tell me your truth about this. Tell me what you think about black families. Tell me what you think about black-owned business when it comes to black people. Tell me what you think about women putting their hands on men. Tell me about it. Tell me what you think. Trust me, man. I want to hear from you. I appreciate everybody that made the last episode do what it did, man. Everybody talked about how much they enjoyed it. I really, really appreciate you. And even when this show gets really big, I'm gonna remain the same person that I've always been. If you know me, I'm just that guy that's cool. I like having conversation. I will never change. I don't care how much money you throw at me or what I got. I'm still gonna be the same person. And I think that is so important on the way up, because the people that you see on the way up could be the same individuals you see on the way to the down. Remember that. I appreciate y'all. This has been fun, and this is my podcast by word of mouth. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You can go to my social media pages, Positive 1150. You can go to Facebook, Dre Morset. You can check me out, man. I got very, very good content on all my social media platforms, and this is just another one to add to the positive things that I'm doing as a person and as an individual to try to push this content out to you guys so you can enjoy it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.